Hey everybody, welcome back to Why Not RV. I'm Chris. On this week's episode, I'm going to answer that question, what is a battery monitor? All the time on so many different forums, I see people constantly asking questions in regards to their batteries when it's how much juice is in my batteries? How much can my batteries run? Will my fridge run overnight on my batteries? What can I run on my batteries overnight? What does the batteries do? I mean, just all the time there's something about the batteries and how much capacity is in them, what are they capable of, and to be honest, no one can answer that question for you directly. No one can, because every single RV is set up differently. Every single RV has different types of batteries, different capacity batteries, one battery, two batteries, lead acid, AGM, lithium. Then you go into your load. What is inside the RV pulling power? Are there any parasitic draws, such as your radio, lights, etc.? Are you running the fridge on propane, or do you have a residential fridge? If you have a residential fridge, does it pull 350 watts, 400 watts, 500 watts? Even if it pulls 500 watts, okay, we know that. But how often is it pulling 500 watts? How often is it turning on and off for you to know how much power it's actually using throughout a 24-hour period? So no one can really answer that question for you except a battery monitor. A battery monitor, such as the one that I use, which is the So that little guy right there is my battery monitor. This is, I mounted it out in the storage bay in here because I use the app and I'm always just looking at the app. So I don't really care about the display because I just pull up the app, but that's where mine sits. This is really the battery monitor. This right here is the actual shunt. That other thing I just showed you is just the screen that displays the information that this shunt is constantly gathering. The negative side of the batteries, literally that cable comes down, comes right off the negative side of my batteries, goes into it, and then off of it is everything else for the RV that's on the negative side. So everything that goes through the DC circuit, everything that comes in and out of these batteries goes through that. Now, there are tons of different battery monitors and shunts out there. So I'm gonna put a link in the description below to exactly what I use, which I highly recommend. It is an amazing, amazing piece of technology, but it does come with a specific price point that some people aren't willing to pay. But I am, because it is super accurate, super reliable, has a great app, but there are budget-friendly versions, and I'll put a link in the description below to some of those as well. But again, I have no experience with those, so I can't really tell you, if they're any good or not. So do your own research on some of the products, but I will drop a link below real quick. You can see right now on the screen, it actually shows me what's being drawn out of the batteries at this exact point in time, which always fluctuates. Like right now my air conditioner is on, but I have solar coming in. So that's why it's fluctuating so much, because my solar is making more power and then less power from clouds and whatnot. So it tells me my time remaining at these exact current conditions. Now, this is always changing when it's in a situation like this with the solar charging and the AC on. But like when the solar's off at night and nothing else is charging this is just the discharge of whatever's happening, it's a much more consistent number of exactly what, how much time is left. So I can see my state of charge, my voltage, my current, the wattage, how many amp hours have been consumed, and time remaining. I also have the temperature monitor on there as well. You can also even go into history and see the deepest discharge, the last discharge. All this information is in here. And it's just a great app to be able to see everything in one place and know exactly what's going on. As previously stated, a battery monitor is just that little shunt that goes in between your battery system and the rest of your DC circuit in your RV, and it monitors all power going in and out of your batteries. Now, with a battery monitor, you can now tell exactly what's going on with your batteries. How many seconds do you have left in the battery? Hours, minutes, seconds. It's incredible what you can know if you have a battery monitor. If you don't have a battery monitor, you are literally just guessing. Some people will say you can go off voltage. Well, you kind of can, but you really can't, because voltage will drop based on a load, and then it'll come back up when the load's gone. So how much juice is really left in the batteries? I don't know. A battery monitor is the only real way to be able to tell what is in those batteries. And again, you set them up for your type of batteries. When you do this install, which I'll put a link up here in one of these corners to where when I installed mine, it's a very, very simple process. But I'll put a link again in one of the corners there for that of how to do it. But once you install it, you set it up for your batteries. My batteries, I have 7 138 amp hour lithium batteries. So I had to tell it that I have 966 amp hours of usable energy. And I set some alerts on there of 20% and 10%, just so I know when the batteries are getting low. It tells me everything I need to know about the batteries: power coming in, power going out, when the solar's making power and it's charging the batteries, when the solar's making power but other things in the RV are being used, so the solar's really just feeding that kind of stuff and the batteries are still being drawn out. It shows me that. It shows me everything about it, and at any given moment's notice, I can pull it up and know exactly what is left in my batteries. Whereas if you're overnighting somewhere and you hope that your batteries make it throughout the night, that's all you're doing. You're just hoping, because you have no real idea if it's going to die on you or not, unless you've done the same thing over and over again. Okay, well, I know I can run my fridge overnight because I've done it before, blah blah blah. But even then, get to a hotter environment, the fridge might run more, battery might die. And with lead acid and AGM batteries, if you're letting it go so long that the battery is dead or it's not working anymore, you're killing that battery. Those batteries are only really rated for 50% capacity. So when you're drawing them down past 50%, you are just destroying your batteries. That's another great reason why you should get a battery monitor, and why you would need one is because you want your batteries to be well protected, taken care of. You want them to last a long time because they're an expensive thing to just go out about willy-nilly replacing. Even some cheap some cheap AGM or lead acid batteries are still $150, $250 at least. So it's not like it's, this little $20 part that you can just slap a new one in, no big deal. Is a battery monitor right for you? That's the real question. So if you need to know how much juice is left in your batteries, if you want to know your battery's health, if you want to know how much time, before it's going to be fully charged, how much time you have left to know if you're going to make it throughout the night, all those different things, a battery monitor can answer those questions for you. Again, some other reasons you might want is just for longevity, right? To make sure that you're not drawing your lead acid or AGM batteries down below 50% and damaging them. Same thing with your charging system. Who knows, your converter could have some kind of weird issue, have a problem, it's not charging. Well, you wouldn't really notice that until the battery's just not making it through the night like it used to. Why? I wonder why. Well, it's not being charged. The converter blew a fuse and you had no idea because you had no other way of knowing. So a battery monitor is just an absolutely incredible device. And again, they're as cheap as $35 for the low end one. 250 bucks, I think, somewhere in that range. I'll put the price here of the Victron BMV-712, which I highly recommend. It is an amazing piece of technology. It's super easy to install. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please drop a link, or drop a comment down below, and I will be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. If you want to come join us on Facebook, we are on Facebook. We have a group on there. Just type in Why Not RV under Facebook groups and you'll find us. And other than that, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.